I'll give... I think 44 years old. That's the thing that really... that I cannot think of a player that old who's won these trophies. But I'll give it a thought during the weekly topic, I guess.
Yeah, you have to just mull it over, I suppose. But guys, hopefully there's something there for you to grasp onto. I feel like I've made it extra hard this week, but I'm just trying to make sure he doesn't win again.
No kid. Yeah, that's what it looks like. All right, guys, we're on with the weekly topic, but keep thinking about this mysterious player because I'll be thinking about it too.
Okay, coming up, our weekly topic of the best partnerships in world football.
And guess who is very, very confused about the mysterious player? That's me, Tommaso, your friend from Milan. But today we're going to talk about the best partnerships in world football. But before that, we acknowledge the fact that we didn't really cover the transfer window as we had promised on Instagram, actually, as I had promised we would on Instagram. But we will just go in depth about the transfer window once the leagues resume. Because as you know, right now, we're on international break. The Nations League is being played, kind of a controversial decision during a global pandemic.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I feel like it's just UEFA desperately trying to grab onto any form of income.
But of course, you've heard about Cavani to Manchester United, Telles to Manchester United, Federico Chiesa to Juventus, which reminds us a little bit of Bernardeschi from Fiorentina to Juventus, and also Roberto Baggio from Fiorentina to Juventus.
There's a bit of fraught tension between those two teams by this point now, I think.
Big time. And also Torreira to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, Torreira going the other way. One that's excited me as well is Chris Smalling making his stay in Rome permanent. I love the fact that he just fell in love with Rome.
Yeah, there was a picture. There was a picture today of Smalling playing cards right in the Eur neighborhood of Rome, and it felt like he's really fit in. But yeah, we'll cover all of this once the leagues resume again, and we can actually see these players play and possibly deliver for the new teams. But today, we're talking about the best partnerships we've ever seen play football. So Ruairi was born in 1989, and I was born in 1992. So we sort of pinpointed 1998 as the year that we both started really getting into football. It was the year of the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the first international tournament I remember. It's the first time I remember being excited about a player, excited about a team. It all revolved around original Ronaldo at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the first time I remember really being excited about and being aware of the world of football as opposed to Crew Alexandra outside my front door.
That was a good moment in your life.
Yeah.
So we will not be talking about incredible partnerships like Mancini-Vialli at Sampdoria because I wasn't even born. We could say, as we say in Italian, that I was still in the mind of God. We will not be talking about Rijkaard, Van Basten, and Gullit at AC Milan, but we will be talking about some other incredible players, starting from defense, moving our way up or down the field, according to how you look at it, until we will get to the best striking partnerships. So, Rory, we sort of said that the best defense partnerships that we've ever seen were three. The first of which was only just a tournament, but for me it was incredible. The Buffon in goal and Cannavaro centre-back partnership during the 2006 World Cup.
Now, listeners, you have to understand how much Tommy wants to talk about this 2006 tournament, and I get it. I will forever be jealous that he has experienced his country win a World Cup in his lifetime. I will forever be jealous of it.
I was actually in Eastbourne, England, when Cannavaro lifted the trophy. If I could change one thing, actually two things about my life, that would be one. But Buffon Cannavaro during the 2006 World Cup, an incredible partnership. It's beautiful to see a goalkeeper that can really and successfully communicate to the defense, and it felt like him and Cannavaro were in sync at all times. Remember that during that World Cup, Italy conceded only one goal during a play, and it was an own goal by
Biraghi?
No,
what's his name?
Zaccardo, the guy who even posted his curriculum on LinkedIn to find a job as a footballer somewhere. But the other goal that we got scored against, of course, it was in the World Cup final. It was a penalty. Zidane scored. But that defense was unmatchable, in my opinion.
Well, Cannavaro was the first defender to win the Ballon d'Or, right?
Yeah,
or the first one in a very long time, at least.
I think, let's play it safe, the first one to win it.
He showed at that tournament just what an absolute wall he was.
Yeah.
And
That was the first defensive partnership that came to my mind when we started planning this episode. And then, if we've got to talk only about center backs, it's difficult not to think about Alessandro Nesta and Paolo Maldini, who played together at AC Milan from 2002 to 2009, winning together 2 Champions Leagues, only 1 Serie A. I was surprised to check this stat. 1 Coppa Italia, 1 Italian Super Cup, and 2 UEFA Super Cups. But I will repeat, 2 Champions League togethers. Nesta was, for a bunch, he was the most technical defender and the best defender you could find in the world. And Maldini was a leader. For a bunch of his time at AC Milan, Maldini actually played left back when Stam came in from Lazio. And so Nesta and Stam were the 2 center backs. But the times that they played together at center back, including the 2007 Champions League final against Liverpool.
When they got revenge. Yeah,
when they got revenge. Wow. So there was that quote that you remember from Maldini, correct?
One of my favorite quotes from Maldini is, if you need to make a slide tackle, you've made a mistake.
But it's great because if you made a mistake, there is Alessandro Nesta just
zipping
in with a clean tackle. So guys, if you're into YouTube videos, there is, I believe you just type Nesta tackles. It's about 10 minutes of just Nesta tackling some of the very best players.
Bask in it. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I think you've got quite a partnership in the Premier League as well.
This is a partnership that at the time I didn't appreciate because they were directly competing with Arsenal for most of it. A bit of it. So we're going to be talking about Ferdinand and Vidic. Now, I'm going to throw in Van der Sar into the mix as well and kind of do it as a triple. It's highlighted more now because it's so what Manchester United are missing, but you had the power of Vidic with the pace and technical skill of Ferdinand. And I remember the first time I watched Ferdinand, it was one of the first times I'd seen an English defender who was capable with the ball at his feet to carry it out of defence, pass it onto midfield. Very technically gifted. And Vidic was he was a very good footballer, but he was physical. He'd get his head where no one else had put it. Just the 2 of them together. Let's just recap what they won together, right? They won 5 Premier League titles.
Listen carefully because this is pretty interesting.
They won 5 Premier League titles. They won 1 Champions League in 07-08. They got to 2 other Champions League finals that they would have won if it wasn't for that Barcelona team, right? They also won 3 League Cups on top. So Vidic came in 2006, 2007. In their first 3 seasons together, in 3 seasons, they conceded 73 goals.
In 3 seasons?
In 3 seasons. So that's an average of, it's 25 goals a season.
Less than 25 goals per season conceded. That's insane.
In their first season, the second season, 07-08, they had a goal difference of plus 58, which was the second highest goal difference of all time in the Premier League. In 08-09, they went 11 games without conceding, so 1,311 minutes, nearly 4 months of Premier League football without conceding a goal. For 3 years in a row, that centre-back partnership was voted in the PFA Team of the Year for 3 years in a row. And something that they often get compared to the central defensive partnership of Terry and Carvalho at Chelsea, who were also incredible. But Carvalho and Terry had Makelele in front of them doing that shielding job, which helped. Vidic and Ferdinand didn't really have that type of player in front of them. They had Darren Fletcher, who was a very good player, but he wasn't a Makelele, right? So I think it kind of gives more testament to them of just how defensively solid they were. Like I said, at the time, I didn't really appreciate it much because they were against Arsenal. But as I think about it more going back, what a partnership. And I know United fans look back just as fondly on it.
And I mean, Nesta and Maldini had, I think, 2 players. I can't really remember the names. Pirlo and Gattuso, I believe, in front of the defense. But still, that doesn't take anything away from the job that they did. One day we can dive in deep about how I started following football as an Inter fan when AC Milan were just
much better
that stellar team. So Vidic and Ferdinand, you mentioned 1 Champions League won and 2 finals lost against what team?
It was against that Barcelona team.
Which brings us to the best midfield partnership that we could find. And it was a pretty easy partnership to find. Xavi and Iniesta. They've played 486 games together. They've won 4 Champions Leagues and 7 La Liga. I will repeat, 486 games together, 4 Champions League titles, 7 La Liga titles, and then, a bunch of other cups.
Club World Cups, everything, just chuck it all in.
Yeah, they both played for Spain at that time when Spain was winning in every sport, every single tournament.
Tennis,
do you remember tennis, Formula One, cycling, football? It was insane. But the funny thing is that in their first 3 years together, Xavi and Iniesta only won 2 trophies, and they were nicknamed in Spain the juguetes, which means like the little toys, which was a term used to label a fancy partnership that wasn't very productive.
It's a luxury, yeah.
Exactly. So they did win the Champions League in 2006 together, but in that campaign, in that European campaign, they only played 2 games together. And so at that point, people were wondering, we've got these 2 Ferraris that we cannot play together, until a man named Pep Guardiola came in, and it was like, it's not a matter of Xavi or Iniesta, it's a matter of Xavi and Iniesta at all times. And there we started witnessing the tiki-taka that has now become, this thing that everyone talks about. They were the core of that tiki-taka team.
Well, they shaped the last 10 years of football tactics, right? I was reading the book Zonal Marking by Michael Cox, which I would recommend to everyone. And he talks about how Pep Guardiola, when he came in with Messi and with Xavi and Iniesta, he kind of modelled both those players on himself, which sounds quite egomaniac-ish, but the partnership of him and those 2 players completely revolutionised football for the following 10 years or so.
So I found a very good article on These Football Times that says that moment when Guardiola came in was the U-band of possession football history. And then there is this quote that I'm just going to read, which is very good. If Guardiola was in the business of promoting possession-based and free-flowing football, then Xavi and Iniesta were his 2 most trusted salesmen, the ones who could go door to door and convince even the most skeptical listener that keeping the ball was the best way to win football matches. Here, take our business card, they seem to be saying. Come back and watch us again next week. I really like this quote.
That is nice. I like it.
That's the best midfield partnership that we can think of. They became, the center of that football team. And then just watch again, we did before this episode, the highlights of the final that was played at Wembley, the Champions League final. Barcelona against Manchester United. If you didn't know what teams were involved, you wouldn't guess that Manchester United are a professional football team, because Barcelona are just insane.
It's the most complete team performance I've ever seen in my life. I remember watching that final and just kind of having a moment of just acknowledging this is the best team I have ever seen.
Tiki-taka at its finest, but also in England. And here Ruairi is getting very excited to talk about his next partnership, which is a 3-man partnership. Who are we talking about?
So we're moving slowly into attack. And now, to go back to Arsenal's glory days, we increasingly have to go further and further back, unfortunately. But I'm going to talk about Bergkamp, Henry and Pires. Now, this was part of a team who you can, or I can, maybe most people, can reel off the first 11 from that Invincibles kind of era. But these are 3 players that were so key across the Wenger period up until kind of 2006 when it all started to go a bit wrong. They were so key to that team. And I was looking at the statistics and now, the league title that we won that gets the most attention is of course the Invincibles era. But I think the best football we played was in 01-02 when we won the double. That season, Pires, Bergkamp and Henry together scored 57 goals and got 42 assists between them.
Can you repeat?
So 57 goals and 42 assists in all competitions between those 3 players. Right?
That's pretty good.
This was like a link up beyond no other. The beauty of it was obviously Henry had started his career as a left winger and been kind of transformed into a forward. It meant that Henry could often drift out to the left and Pires could make the late run into the box for Henry to kind of put it on a plate for him. Henry and Pires in particular seemed to have a kind of psychic connection. They always knew where each other were. I know there's a lot of people who've been watching the Premier League who will now go, but what about the penalty against Man City when they tried to show off and fucked it up? Yes, I get it. I really wish it had pulled off.
I don't know that story.
Do you not know the story?
No. Please tell me.
So ages ago, Johan Cruyff and Van Basten tried to do a penalty where one of them knocked it.
Oh, Messi and Suarez did the same thing.
Yeah, the other person ran through and hit it, right?
Yeah.
Was the idea.
Yeah.
But Perez